Good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming to this press briefing of the position of People's Renaissance Movement in as far as the fuel crisis in our country is concerned. We are saying that it is a deliberate failure and a betrayal of the people by our government. The People's Renaissance Movement condemns in the strongest terms the ongoing fuel price increase that has plunged millions of Kenyans into economic distress. This is not accidental. It is the predictable outcome of government negligence, policy failure, and misplaced priorities. Fuel price and supply instability continue to drive up the cost of living, with ordinary Kenyans bearing the full brunt of the crisis they did not create. Transport costs have risen by 20 to 50%, food prices by 10 to 15%, and small businesses responsible for over 80% of employment are being pushed to the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, the government remains indifferent. Where the government has failed, taxes account for approximately 40 to 50% of the pump price, among the highest in the region. No functional strategic fuel reserve to stabilize supply stocks, lack of transparency in fuel procurement, enabling inefficiencies and cartel influence, weak currency management, increasing the cost of fuel inputs. This is not governance, it is abandonment. Immediate and actionable interventions. The PM proposes urgent measures that can deliver relief within weeks, not years. Immediate tax relief, impact to reduce pump prices by 20 to 30 shillings per litre. Suspend even the 8% VAT and reduce excise duty by at least 50%. This alone can lower petrol and diesel prices by 15 to 20%, easing pressure on households and businesses. Targeted public transport subsidy to stabilize fares by 15 to 25%. Allocate Kenya shillings 15 to 20 billion stabilization fund to cushion matatu and bus operators. Direct savings must be passed to commuters through regulated fare ceilings. Strategic fuel reserve to stabilize supply for 60 to 90 days. Immediately secure and maintain reserves equivalent to at least 2 to 3 months of national consumption. Prevent artificial shortages and panic-driven price spikes. Transparency and anti-cartel enforcement. Publish all fuel import contracts and pricing structures. Establish an independent audit of the fuel supply chain within 30 days. What is the political truth of this? Kenyans must not be misled. This crisis persists not because it persists because it benefits a few at the expense of millions. The burden placed on wananchi is direct consequence of leadership that has chosen revenue extraction over economic protection. A government that allows fuel, an essential commodity, to become unaffordable is a government that has lost its moral authority to lead. The People's Renaissance Movement stands firmly with the people of Kenya in demanding urgent relief, accountability, and a new direction. We call upon Kenyans to reject economic oppression disguised as policy, demand transparency and accountability at every level, exercise their democratic power to vote out this insensitive regime. Mabadiliko ni sasa.
Na kama si sasa,
ni sasa hivi. Economic liberation is non-negotiable. With that is the official position of the PM party. And I would like Gideon to just add one short thing about the fuel reserves.
Thank you, members. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gideon Simiyu, Senator, Bungoma County 2027. Ladies and gentlemen, petrol has a shelf life of 6 months. Diesel has a shelf life of 6 to 12 months. Jet fuel has a shelf life of 1 year. As of early April, less than a month since the war started, our country only had petrol 16 days of reserve, diesel 19 days of reserve, and jet fuel 49 days of reserve. 49 days. My first question, does this mean this discrepancy of jet fuel vis-a-vis the fuel that is used by the common mwananchi, does it mean they have set this discrepancy so that these are the rich, the bourgeoisie who can afford the planes and jets? Are they benefiting themselves? Are they making sure that they're advantaged in this crisis? Why the big discrepancy? Number two, is this short period of reserve, yet we know these fuels can be reserved for more than 6 months. Is this short period set to ensure that this crisis can benefit the cartels as soon as the crisis happens? Because if the fuel can be stored for 5 months without going bad, why are we having only 16 days or less than a month of reserves in the country? So ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm saying this is because as I finish, these issues have long-term ramifications. In short, I'm saying, wewe ushawaisikia siku moja ukaambiwa na matatu kwamba mafuta imeshuka bei, sasa bei ya kutoka hapa kwenda Ngong imetoka from 150 to 100. Hapana. That's why we need long-term programs, long-term reserves. Thank you.
Asante sana. I think we shall have also Kenyans, because as I said, PM is a party for all Kenyans. We shall have just a few Kenyans saying something about how the fuel increase has affected them. Tafadhali.
Kwa majina naitwa Linet Nyaboke. Kama sisi mama mboga wa kibanda, bei imekuwa juu, bei ya mboga iko juu, nyanya ziko juu, kila kitu imepanda, hata unga kwa sababu ya mafuta venye imepanda. Tunaomba mabadiliko, we need a change.
Kwa majina naitwa Vincent, mwana boda boda Lavington. Kwa hii bei ya kupanda mafuta imetuaffect sana. Kwa sasa mafuta ya 200 sahi hata inafuliwa wai kama avieta. Hata huwezi jua imeenda aje. Customer kamwambia ongeza bei, atakwambia hapana, acha nipanze nitembee. Ili nitembee. So hii mafuta imetuaffect sana kwa hii barabara. Unapata familia umepeleka bure, bibi na watoto wamesafa. Kwa hiyo tunaomba mabadiliko. Asanteni.
Yes, kwa majina naitwa Joel Mumbo, na mimi ni fundi, lakini mafuta kupanda imenifanyia iko na changamoto mingi kabisa kwangu. Cause kutoka mtaani hadi hapa garage saa zingine ni ngumu kufika, cause bibi nini na watoto wanataka, pia lazima uorganize kwa nyumba nini, lakini tunataka mabadiliko sahihi. Ni sasa hivi tunataka mabadiliko.
PM party lazima.
PM
mabadiliko ni sasa. Mabadiliko ni sasa.
Haya, ningependa karibisha maswali. Asante.
Any questions?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
PM party ni chama ambacho kilipata certificate jana, full certificate, na PM Party kilianzishwa na Wakenya ambao wamechoshwa na siasa ambazo ni mtu fulani, zinalenga mtu fulani, personality based politics. Kwa hivyo vile tulianza ili ikuwe an ideology based politics. Ndio tukasema hata hatuna kiongozi wa chama kwa saa hizi, lakini wakati tutafanya NDC ndio tutachagua kiongozi wa chama ambaye atapeleka malengo yetu mbele. We want this to be an institution that outlives us. That is why we have a very strong youth network who we are going to groom to take up after us. But we do not want a position where once Raila Amolo dies, ODM goes. Once somebody else leaves, another party like DP goes. So we do not want that. We have seen the need of the country to have an ideology-based party where you only come there because you believe in center-right liberal democracy. That is our ideology.
Asante. Swali nyingine hapa tupate hapa.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Spoken about the issue of petroleum prices.
Yes.
And the other side of the opposition, they are saying they will hold protests soon because of fuel and many other issues. Will you be joining them?
Well, as a people who are interested in this, we can say for sure it would be good for us to join to show our anger about the fuel.
Okay. Another question?
Another question?
Pardon?
We are done. There's rain.
Asanteni sana.
Asanteni sana.
Mungu awabariki. PM.
Inabadiliko ni sasa.